This week, we are connected with two sections in the Torah, two portions called Tazria in Hebrew and Metzora. Both of those sections in the Torah deals with the idea of leprosy, as we will talk about it, and as the Kabbalists decoding the secret within all of those biblical stories, does not talk about simply a physical disease that used to be maybe in the old times. However, the word leprosy is a code name. Is a code name. A code name for the seed or the place where negativity stems from. Now, the idea of clarifying or connecting with that place where negativity stems from is simply to allow each one of us to be able to transform the negativity at that seed level. The word leprosy in Hebrew is tzarat. And the word tzarat comes from the terms Metzora. Metzora is when a person channels from themselves negative energy. More specifically, in all the ancient texts, the Kabbalists refer to that negativity, to a negativity that is being manifested by speech. When we use words in negative ways, when we use words to put people down, when we use words that are not for the sake of helping in any shape or form, to elevate, to change, to transform a situation, but just the need or the desire to speak in a negative way about others. So this is the general understanding. The Zohar, which is our main book in Kabbalah, in verse 91, so in verse 91, the Zohar says, and again, those of you relatively new, every week we read from the actual ancient text in Aramaic, simply because one of the main practices and meditations and tools that the Kabbalists have been using for thousands of years to awaken very powerful and positive energy is simply through the words in Aramaic. So as I'm reading it, it's not for the sake of us studying, because we will study it in our language, in English, but this is for the sake of helping us now to awaken a greater level of energy within our soul. The Zohar writes, Nega tzarat, היתארו חבריה, אבל צרת כתרגומו, אמר רבי יהודה, מהי כתרגומו? סגירו, דסגיר ולה פתח, וחד סגיר ובלה פתח, נגע הוא דיקרא. The Zohar writes, the friends spoke about the plague of leprosy, but leprosy is explained according to its Aramaic translation. Said Rabbi Yehuda, what is it translated into? What is the Aramaic word for this term known as leprosy? It's called in Aramaic sgiru, which means closing, because it closes supernal lights and does not open up. When it closes and does not open, it is considered as a plague. So the Zohar is helping now each one of us to get into more the spiritual dimension of understanding what is the leprosy about, what does it mean, sgiru or closing, talking about the supernal lights, what does it mean? It's moments or times when energy, when blessings, when light are being delivered through the universe to the individual, but since the spiritual channels are closed, that energy and this blessing are being held back. They remain in a reality that is not being manifested within the life of the individual. So tzarat, which means leprosy, in Aramaic means giru, which is a spiritual state, not of a negative experience, but of a moment when there is additional blessing about to come to the life of an individual, but because of some reason that we will talk about later, the channels are not open. So this amazing, powerful, pure, positive energy doesn't find a way to go through and to manifest in the life of the individual. So the zero, it's basically a constricted blessing, a constricted light. There is energy, but the channel closed. Rabbi Isaac Luria, one of the most important Kabbalists in history, in the 16th century, explains in one of his writings, in a deeper level, what goes on in the metaphysical aspect of life, because studying Kabbalah, as much as we desire to know, so what do I need to do in order to change the situation? Before we're taking any action to hopefully change a situation from negative to positive, there has to be a change or transformation in the non-physical aspect, which is our mind, which is the way we think, which is our consciousness. So, before we getting into what practically do I need to do, we want to get clear about what is the shift of consciousness that is available for each one of us in this week. What is the consciousness that we want to strengthen this week? So the Ari writes, we have the level, the spiritual level known as the Zeir Anpin. This is the middle part. The Zeir Anpin considered to be the male aspect of energy. The male aspect of energy. When we speak about the male aspect, we don't talk about any physical connotation. However, the male aspect of energy, we talk about the part that channels, like a pipe, that its responsibility is to channel the energy. This is the Anpin. The second part, known as the Malchut, this is in the bottom of the tree of life. The Malchut is known as the female aspect, which is the manifestor. Zeir Anpin will be like the seed, the Malchut will be like the field, like the ground. If you would have a seed, perfect seed of an apple tree, on the table for 1,000,000 years, what is going to happen with the seed? Nothing. In order to manifest the male energy, you need to have the Malchut. The Malchut is the manifestor. However, the male aspect, which is Zeir Anpin, that channels all the energy down to Malchut, which will be our world, receives the energy from the upper levels, known as Chokhmah and Binah. Binah, known as the energy store, unlimited energy. And Binah is known as the supernal mother. In the teachings of Kabbalah, is known as supernal mother. Then we have in Chokhmah, in the other side, which is known as the supernal father. All the energy Zeir Anpin receives, it receives from what known as the spiritual supernal father and the spiritual supernal mother, which are Chokhmah and Binah. This is where the energy comes into Zeir Anpin, the pipe, and through Zeir Anpin eventually to the Malchut level. The Ari writes, these lights do not become manifest. These amazing, powerful energies cannot become manifest. The Ari writes, only when also the light, the energy of Chokhmah comes with them. Meaning if the energy comes only from one side of the mother, of Binah, into Zeir Anpin and to the Malchut, that energy is powerful, amazing, pure blessings that coming down that the universe sends. Those blessings cannot manifest within the world of Malchut unless the energy of Chokhmah is connected, attached to those blessings. So there is basically no energy that can manifest in this world without the infusion of the energy that comes from this dimension known as Chokhmah. Why? The Ari writes, even though the light within the frame of the supernal mother, which is Binah, it's everything anyone can wish to receive in life, any desire for fulfillment anyone has in this world is being stored in Binah. However, it is not enough to draw the energy from that dimension into Zeir Anpin to the Malchut. There is a system that will not allow those blessings to manifest unless, as we said, the energy, the infusion of the energy of Chokhmah is connected to the entire flow, to the entire system. And the Ari explains the why. כי המוחין דאבא דוחין החיצוניים. Because this infusion of energy that is coming from this specific place, known as Chokhmah, this specific energy, it's the energy that provides protection or protective shield. Energy that provides protection. Now we know, and we've heard this idea, I believe, before in many different sessions. We know that in life, it is not just desiring and drawing energy. When you draw energy into your lives, when you draw blessing into your lives, you want this blessing to be a long-term blessing. You want to have protection over this blessing. The power that provides protection to the blessings is this extra infusion of that energy that comes from the level of Chokhmah. What is that light of Chokhmah? The light of Chokhmah is more powerful and more intense and more elevated than Binah, than the entire system. What makes the light of Chokhmah be so powerful that whenever negativity is trying to attach itself to a blessing of the person, the light of Chokhmah, when it is there, it doesn't let that negativity to attach to the blessing. When a negative force, a negative intention, a negative action tries to manifest within a blessing of a person, if the light of Chokhmah is there, there is such a protection that the person would not even realize that there was a potential even negativity tries to get in to their blessings. So I was thinking, you know, what is the light of Chokhmah like? If you know the mosquito zapper, I used to live in Miami, and we had a backyard, and in the summer, you know, there are many mosquitoes. So what do? If you go to camping? Of course, you can put, you know, the special spray, right? But they invented this mosquito zapper. That what happens with this mosquito zapper? Because of the heat, the mosquito being attracted to it, but they can never truly enjoy it. If they get too close to the zapper, they burn out. The light of Chokhmah, when the light of Chokhmah is there, when any negativity tries to get closer, it burns out. This is like the mosquito zapper in the upper world. וכאשר אין אור אבא נתגלה והוא נעלם, whenever the light of Chokhmah, when now the supernal mosquito zapper is not there, and why it will not be there, the Kabbalah is making it very simple, very clear. It will be because of two reasons. Either it's a phase that we're all going through. We're all going through, guys. As much as spiritual work we want to do and desire to do, and we're all going through many different phases in that process. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Sometimes you feel stronger, more connected. Sometimes you feel less connected. Sometimes you feel more motivated, sometimes less motivated. We're all going through phases. And of course, there is a reason for that even in a spiritual level. In a phase when we don't really grow in our transformation process, we don't grow spiritually, or the phase when we getting disconnected and we get to do even things that if we would have a bit more consciousness, we would never do it. Things that might even harm other people. When we manifest negativity, this is when the light of Chokhmah disappears. This is when we lose that protection shield of the light of Chokhmah. In this specific week, we deal with a specific way of losing the light of Chokhmah, which is negativity that is being manifested by evil speech. So, very often, you know, we might, because I believe we're all good people, and we're really trying to be good people. None of us have the intention to be, you know, to put other people down. But when we lose touch with our spirituality, we're finding ourselves speaking about somebody who hurt us, and in such a negative way that we put them down, and seeing and talking about all the imperfections in people and situations, and we're losing our sight of seeing how everything is aligned with such a perfection for our process, that everything happens for the sake of providing us with the opportunity to strengthen our connection and to grow and to expand. But we're all going through phases of losing consciousness. losing the vision, losing the sight. We're all falling into places of blaming others and feeling a bit victim about situations, even though something in us knows everything happens for a reason, and there is one force in the universe that constantly pushing each one of us to greatness. And even times we feel uncomfortable going through challenges, when we disconnect from the elevated, powerful consciousness of our soul, we start to view things, to feel about things, and even to speak about things in a negative way. We start view things as opportunities for us to become even greater. So what happens when we lose the protection shield of the light of Chokhmah? אז במקום אלו יוצאים ג' מיני נגעים. So instead of the light that's supposed to manifest, the channel is being closed, and what manifests instead is different types of negativities. Different types of negativities. Or to make it even more direct and clear, different things that we experience that we view as negativity. As the Ali will explain that in their essence, they are not negativities. But we will begin experiencing different types of negativities. And the Ali gets into the real deep secret behind it. וזה מה שאמר שכתוב בזוהר. This is what the Zohar wrote, exactly what we just read together. כנגד צרה תרגומו מכתש סגירו, that the leprosy in Aramaic means סגירו, which means closing, that the channel is being closed. It's not that there is no light, it's not that there is no blessing, it's just there is no room for the blessing to come down. So the entire work is not fighting the negativity that we might view as negativity. The entire work will be what? To open up the channels. Can you imagine? Instead of wasting so much energy, fighting, confronting so much negativity, trying to fix broken things in our life, what Ari explains, all what we need to realize is that the experience of the negativity, it is not part of the true reality. In the true reality, there is now energy that tries to get in. And since there is more energy that tries to get in, it will create even more pressure, stress. So we will feel stressed out because we would experience something as negative in this world, but when a person is attached their mind into the spiritual level, they would be able to recognize, as I believe each one of us experienced at least one time in life, how something that seemed to be negative and bad ended up to be amazing. So instead of going through 5 years of fighting negativity and then something is shifting and we realize how that negativity we experienced was actually one of the most powerful blessings we could experience in life, how this process helped to design each one of us into that new positive place with new understanding about ourselves, about life, about others, about relationships, about lessons the universe is trying to give us, but we are not open to receive it. When the lesson is trying to come down into our lives and we are not open to receive it, we would experience it as negative experience, as negative thing. The kavanat varav and the meaning behind it, the Ari writes, Kinega zeu kedusha. That this, what seemed to be negativity, because the leprosy represents negativity, but this negativity, it is actually additional holiness that tries to penetrate and to come into the life of this individual. Think about a moment in life where you had all the logical reasons to feel stressed out, to feel negative, that your mind convincing you that what you are going through is really negative. We had the session before our session of the 10 lumen examination, and one of the things I mentioned, because it was connected somehow to this week as well, is that whenever and whatever negativity we might experience in this journey of life, remember that you're still alive. And if you're still alive, it means that there is a way to make changes. The most extreme negativity is death. If God forbid, the person died, that's it. There's no way now to work on changes. And sometimes we're going through a difficult time and our experience is such as negativity that we are something in our mind convincing us that this is the end of the world. And it's not the end of the world because we're still here. And if we're still here, it means that we can still change. We can still change ourselves. We can still change situations in life. And if you look at the overall big picture of life, you can realize it. From childhood, different experiences that were viewed as negative experiences, you look back and you can understand that there were lessons that the universe tried to teach you there. The universe will never bring any of us into that place of experiencing a challenge for the sake of making us experience negativity. The only purpose behind those difficult times in our process is to realize that there is an extra powerful energy that tries to come into our lives, and we need to open up the channels. We need to do something to open up the channels. So what is this gil? What is this kind of leprosy? It's a moment that in our process, there is kind of, it's another analogy that I used in the previous session. I believe that in most of, in our houses, there is, if God forbid, there is a fire. You have a system that the system recognizes the potential fire, and then there is the alarm that goes off. When the alarm goes off, what do we normally feel? Normally we feel panic. First of all, it's very strong, very loud, right? But right after the panicking moment, what is the next thing that you do? Try to turn the alarm off. You take an action, but turning the alarm off, it will be one of the actions I can take, right? Is that what I really want to do? What do I want to do? I want to address the issue. If the alarm went off, potentially there is fire. I want to find out if, God forbid, there is potential fire. I want to take care of it right away before it's becoming a bigger issue, right? So the alarm, when it goes off, yes, there is a moment of getting into panic, but the alarm going off, saving me, is awakening my awareness that I need to take care of something here, right? So in many ways, the alarm in our personal life, in our personal relationship with the universe, there are moments that the alarm will go off. And yes, we will get into panic. Something that is being viewed as something negative is going on. But the moment that we feel that, the natural reaction is, I have to do something, right? I have to do something. There is a wake-up call. There is a wake-up call. So when that, what viewed as negativity, is coming into our process, it is simply a system that the alarm goes off to awaken me to take care of something in my life. Maybe my relationships. Maybe for, 3 months, I did not invest anything into my relationships. And I don't even realize that the energy going down and down and down and down. And if the alarm will not go off for me to become more awakened, to realize, 1 second, I need to invest in my relationship, after 20 years, I will wake up and I will ask myself, what am I doing with this individual? After 20 years, too late? It's never too late. But for most of people, this is what they feel. If a person runs a business and it just goes fine, and they are completely fine with the business, and they don't realize that they're capable to expand it, they're capable to do more and to invest more energy into the business, one day something will go off. Something will happen to create an awakening for the individual to realize there is something I need to take care of. When the alarm goes off in life, it's not because something bad happens. Remember, nobody dies. When the alarm goes off, it's to remind me I'm still alive and I'm here to expand. I'm here to expand the energy. I cannot live in status quo. The universe has constant desire to pour more blessings into the life of each one of us. But we need to open up to receive. We cannot be numb. We cannot have a dormant vessel and consciousness of, just existing in life. We need to awaken our desires. We need to awaken ourselves. So when the alarm goes off, so this kind of intensity of energy comes in and awakens me, and I feel I have to do something about the relationship, maybe about my health. I have to do something about my health. A person just went to the doctor and he believed everything is fine, 15 years eating junk, not exercising, but they don't feel anything wrong. And after 15 years, a simple check with the doctor, realizing that the level of the cholesterol just went up and they really need to take care of themselves. This creates an awakening inside of the individual. I have to take an action. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. It is just a positive, amazing awakening. This is why the Ari explains that this awakening, when we experience negativity, this is an awakening that comes from holiness to protect. to protect. So instead of getting into panic as the first reaction, completely normal. But remaining into panicking mode for 20 years, this will get us nowhere. What do? In the Torah it says, what would happen with a person that would experience negativity in their lives? He would go to the spiritual leader, back at the time, specifically, not Moses, not the main leader, but specifically the high priest. The high priest. What would be the high priest role? And we don't talk about the title, we talk about spiritual, energetic abilities, is to channel energy of healing. However, so this individual would come to the high priest, להמשיך ולגלות אותו הסגיר דנאור ההילאה. That what this high priest would do with the individual would not simply give them a blessing and heal them, because if there is no shift in consciousness, even though the high priest would have the ability to heal the individual, it is like going to the doctor that can give a person some pills, and the person goes back and continuing to smoke and to eat junk, and what will happen? If the person continues with the same routines that do not support awakening of positive energy in their lives, what would happen? They would go back to experience that same negativity, right? If a couple going through challenging time and they're going to somebody that, a therapist or someone spiritual that can help them, but if they're going back home and continuing with the same routine of being upset and angry at each other, not realizing the blessing they have of having each other, not having gratitude of having each other, if they're going back into the old negative patterns, what will happen? No one can help them. The high priest even would not be able to help them. So what the role of the high priest was all about is to help the individual to recognize how to create the opening of the channels in their lives to allow the blessing to come down. So you would go to the high priest and you would expect the high priest, give me the blessing and open up that channel to remove and eliminate this negativity I experience and just heal my life. What the high priest would do, the high priest would give you the guide, what needs to be done in order to open up the channel, because you're the only one who can do that. Yes, you can get support, but for the long term, you are the only one who can open the channel, because the only healing is just to open up the channel, because all that energy and all those blessings, they are waiting to be downloaded into your reality. So the moment you create the opening, you'll experience, as the universe pouring upon your life, rain of blessings. So, as far as what we mentioned, as far as the shift of a consciousness, this is the level of the shift of consciousness that we want to, again, experience this week. This is where we want to expand our consciousness to. This is what is available with the energy of this week. Changing the view regarding the difficult times. Making the shift of our perception of those challenges, hard times, what we view as negative experiences, into realizing and recognizing that what we experience is simply a moment as the alarm went off to create an awakening internally for me to do something, to open up the channel, to allow additional blessings to come down. For how many of you the level of the shift of consciousness is clear as far as what to focus on? Okay, so before I'm getting into the physical actions shift we want to work on, I want to give you 3 minutes just to share it in your own words with a friend sitting next to you. Okay? So you can do it in group of 3. It will be even better. Please. So as we mentioned, any moment that it feels that we experience negativity, any moment of a challenge or a difficult time, we want to switch into that new consciousness that what is going on in that moment, there is a package of restricted blessing, energy, that the universe delivered. And all what I need to work on is to open up the channel, to allow this energy to come down. There is a story about one of the most powerful Kabbalists in all history, Rabbi Akiva. He was the teacher of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the author of the Zohar. And in this story, Rabbi Akiva went to kind of a long trip out of his town. He took with him three things. He took with him his donkey, so he will be able to ride on the donkey for this long trip. He took with him the rooster, so he can wake up before dawn to study. We know that the Kabbalists, in all generations, one of the main powerful times to awaken wisdom, it's time after midnight but before dawn. So he took the rooster just to wake him up, and he took with him a candle. So he can light the candle and then he will be able to study during the night. So he went through many, many, many miles, and in one of the places that he arrived to, one of those villages, he tried to get the assistance of different people from the local community to maybe to host him for the night, to help him maybe with the food, but no one was willing to help him. So it was the first place that no one was willing to help him. So he didn't have much to do. He took his donkey, his rooster, and the candle, and he went to the forest. So under a tree, he placed himself and was about to go to sleep for the night. And suddenly, this village was around the desert. Suddenly, he sees a lion comes towards him. And the lion did not attack him, but he attacked the donkey. And he just killed the donkey and ate the donkey. So as the lion killed the donkey and left, Rabbi Akiva said the verse that is known in many of the writings. In Aramaic it says, Kol man de'avid rachmana letav avid, which practically says the universe is working for my higher good. After 1 hour, there is a cat coming in and eating the rooster. Now he doesn't have the donkey, he doesn't have the rooster, he doesn't have, he's under the tree. And all what he says is reciting, reminding himself, Kol man de'avid rachmana letav avid. The universe is working for my higher good. He's about to light the candle, he had the last match. He's lighting the candle and then wind came and turned off the candle. And Rabbi Akiva is just awakening this one consciousness, Kol man de'avid rachmana letav avid, the universe is working for my higher good. A few minutes later, he hears in the middle of the night screaming, coming from that village. And when the morning came in, he heard from local people that there were some gangs, bad individuals who attacked the village, and they took as captive some of the people in the village. And those people actually went through the forest while he was asleep. And then he realized, if he would have the donkey with this noise, the donkey would make a noise and they would get him. The rooster would make noise and they would find him. The candle would make light and they would find him. The people did not want to host him because the universe worked for his higher good. But he lived every day of his life in this level of consciousness. I don't think that any of us is there in that level. But this is why we're here. And this is why we have this week. This is the consciousness we want to awaken. This week, more than any other week, can help each one of us to strengthen this elevated, powerful consciousness. The universe is working for my higher good. Anytime that it feels negative, no, there is a package of blessing tries to come in. All what I need to do is opening up the channel. One is the shift of the consciousness. The second is shift in actions. Now, this week is very specific action that we need to take, since, as we mentioned, the word Metzora is related to negativity we experience as an effect of the channels closed down because of energy we awakened, negative energy we awakened through evil speech, through our mouth, through words. So, In this week, what you want to talk about, to do, first of all, proactively, not to wait for any opportunity. In order to open up the channels that closed down because negativity that was awakened because of negative words, maybe we cannot erase the negative words, but we can awaken greater power with our mouth. Joining the protective shield of Chokhmah, what we spoke about at the beginning, deals with a new level of transformation that I'm awakening myself towards. I need to get myself to act in a way of manifesting greater good. This week, specifically with speech. This week, you don't want to wait for the opportunity to come. You want to create the opportunity to speak good about others. You want to create the opportunity for yourself to talk and to speak good about situations in your life. Use the power of your mouth. Use the power of your words in a positive way. This week, find at least 3 people to give them compliments. Now, as we know, it is never just about the action or the words. And this is why we're here. I'm not here to tell you speak good this week. Because we know, as we mentioned at the beginning, we want to attach elevated consciousness into what we do. Elevated consciousness into what we do. Speaking good, it is not just about being nice individuals this week. Speaking good is to awaken the protective shield of Chokhmah, to draw down this infusion of energy that helps to protect our blessings and helps to open up the channels, to help each one of us to experience greater good. Because the moment that you experience greater good, the natural next thing that will happen, your desire to manifest greater good towards others will grow. We give what we experience. We give what we have. When we experience great positive energy, all what we want is to share it with others. When we experience closed channel and experience negativity, all what we share with others is our panic. And our victim mind and consciousness and thoughts and blame and complaining and all that negativity, because this is what we have at that moment. In this week, as we encouraging and pushing ourselves to speak, and not just to speak good, we want to use the power of our mouth to manifest the light of wisdom, the light of Chokhmah. Chokhmah means wisdom. This channel, this infusion of energy. This is one. The second thing that we want to do as far as speech is, let's say you have a problem with an individual in your life. Just let's say. Anyone has any problem with any individual in your life? Okay. Let's say that you have a problem with an individual in your life. When we have a problem with an individual in our lives, one option we have, it is to deal with it, meaning to go to confront the issue, to speak to them. We want to do it in a spiritual level, which means not in a reactive way, but in proactive way, in a way of opening up something. Listen, there is something bothered me, for the sake of opening up something. This is one way to open up the channels. Many times when you're coming from loving place, compassion place, overcome your reactive nature with the mindset of, I really want to open up the energy between us. I'm not here to blame you. I want to discuss it, to confront the issue, but from a place of love and compassion. Most of those times when you approach proactively those individuals, you'll realize there is really nothing. That many things that you felt, they didn't even mean, You'll realize how much illusion attached. Why? Because there is potential for so much blessing in a new level for the relationship, but the channel is closed. You need to open it up. Speak. Not speak from your mind, speak from your heart. What will happen when we don't do that? Unfortunately, very often we have issues with people and we don't speak up. And even if we do speak up, it's from reactive place to justify, I am right, you are wrong, which will not open up anything because there is no energy of mercy, energy of compassion in it. The intention is not to open up something. The intention is just to show you I'm right, you're wrong, and you need to apologize in, right? I'm not here to discuss. Nothing will open up, right? Because we already made the judgment. We're coming from a place of judgment. We're talking about proactive confrontation. We talk about coming from the heart with the intention of opening that energy between us. You want to take an action this week to open up something with one of those individuals that you do have issue with. What will happen if we don't proactively approaching the problem with those individuals, two other things can happen. One other option will be simply just to ignore the issue, just to ignore the problem, crossing our fingers and hoping that, we'll forget about it, or one day it will change, or that obviously will not solve any issue. Because when we do experience the problem, remember, there is a restricted blessing tries to come in, we have to open up something. So just forgetting about it, ignoring it, crossing our fingers will not help. Another option that we have is using any of the passive, aggressive communications, just reactively, which is all about, again, avoiding the confrontation in a spiritual level that will lead into not opening up the channels. So beside of proactively finding ways to speak positive words about yourself, about other people, about situations in your life, find at least one individual that you do whatever you can to awaken all this power inside of you with the energy that exists in this week, to have a proactive confrontation with one intention, not justifying yourself, putting down the other person, but making an effort to come not from a place of judgment, but from a place of love, with the intention of opening up the energy between you and this individual. I want to give you, before we leave, one meditation that you can use. You can find it in our books. If you don't have it, I will post it maybe later or tomorrow on my Facebook, whatever social media, Instagram, that you can get it from there. If you have some of the books, so you have those meditations. So one of the names of God, which is three-letter combination that the Kabbalists revealed, and again I've been using for thousands of years in the spiritual practice of meditations, that gives us control over unwanted thoughts. Even when we think negatively about situation or about an individual, if you really think about it, do you really desire to keep that negative thoughts? Of course not. You cannot feel joy when you think in a negative way. But it is not so easy to cleanse the negativity from our mind. We cannot clean the negativity from our words if we don't work towards cleaning the negativity from our mind. This is the shift of the consciousness we spoke in the first part. But this meditation, it is just to support this process. So this name, this one name out of the 72 names of God, when you meditate on this name, which means you visualize the shape of the letters, you don't need to know the Hebrew letters. Each letter acts as a signal, as a channel for a unique energy to become more awakened inside of you. So as you scan with the eyes, which are the windows of the soul, or even in more elevated way, you can memorize the shape of the letters, and you meditate through those letters to draw down light, energy. These letters, this name, this is the name that we use to control our thoughts, and especially, again, to cleanse and to remove negativity from our thoughts. This is a name you can use as often as you want during the day. You can have it printed in front of you. You can, again, memorize it. The second meditation is a meditation called Esh Tamid, which literally means eternal flame, eternal fire. This fire that the Kabbalists speak about is a positive fire that helps us to burn. It's the light of Chokhmah that we spoke about, that the mosquito zapper. So this is the fire that we can awaken, the light of Chokhmah. There are three verses that they are originally coming from Psalms, from the writings of King David. That each one of those verses, even though they are in Hebrew, again, it's the letters, it's the shapes of the letters. In this case, even when you recite, you have it in English as well. So when you recite the words in the original way they were written, which is in Hebrew, they have the ability to awaken that unique energy of Chokhmah. So this meditation is a bit more complicated for many of us. However, if you want to use an extra meditation related to drawing the infusion of the light of Chokhmah, activating again the mosquito zapper in our lives, to help us eventually to open up the channels. This is a very powerful meditation. So there are 3 verses that the Kabbalists recite every day, 7 times each one. So as I mentioned, it's more complicated meditation. However, those of you who'd like to use it, it will be available. You can have it and you can use it any time of your life, but specifically very powerful to use it in this week. Those meditations are helping us again to elevate our consciousness, our mind into that place that normally is very challenging. To elevate into this place, this shift of consciousness, that consciousness that tells me at the moment of stress, pressure, something that's viewed as negativity, this is actually a holy moment in my life. As illogical idea as it might sound, but there is a package of blessing that tries to get in. And what I need to do now, it's not to react to that negativity, but what I need to do is to open up the channel. How do I open up the channel? This specific week, positive speech, proactive confrontation. Okay? Thank you so much, everyone. I want to wish you to have an amazing, powerful, transformative week.